Hello, friends. Welcome to another podcast. My name is Dr. Jason Wiggins, and I am your Gen Z and Millennial expert. Welcome. Today's date is February 1st, 2021. This is Black History Month. This is a great time to look at individuals that have made a huge impact within the Black community. So I would encourage everybody to read and review all the great individuals. It is also episode number 96, and it is also Monday. So happy Monday to everyone. I hope everybody had a great day and had a great weekend and is looking forward to a great week. I know I am. I'm busy up to my ears this week, but I'm excited, I'm energized, and it is going to be a great week. Today, we're going to talk about something that when you're a kid, the words make you cringe. And as you get older, they still make you cringe. And these words probably continue to make you cringe as adults. The two words that I'm talking about, and they are contrasting but very similar in many ways, is responsibility and accountability. So you say responsibility and accountability, what's that have to do with me? Well, very simple. When you're young, you're given chores, so your mom and dad will give you chores such as make sure you clean your room or make sure you do the dishes, simple things like that, which are responsibility. Responsibilities are tasks that you have to do to make sure that you appease your parent as you're growing up. Now, as you become an adult, responsibilities are going to school, going to work. These are tasks that you need to do to survive. Now we talk about as you move forward with the responsibilities, then you start talking about accountability. Accountability is when somebody holds you to the fire, holds your feet to the fire, and you are now accountable for your actions, accountable for your results, and accountable for your overall well-being, because your actions will determine how successful or lack of success you'll experience either within life, within the workforce, and your overall career goals. Now, when we talk about accountability, it's not just about the simple tasks. You know, when you go to work and you do your job as you're told to do or as the expectation is. Accountability is about the desire to make sure that you are accountable for all of your goals. Make sure you're accountable for your clients, your sales goal. For all you sales folks out there, millennials and Generation Z, when you're told that this is your sales goal, how does that make you feel? Well, your sales goal is this lofty number that somebody behind the desk spins this big machine and says, this is what I expect. Not really. They're not spending a big machine. They're usually going by past history plus a percentage. It's just like hitting a revenue goal. Your revenue goal may be 3% over last year's goal, and that's similar to a sales goal. But you are accountable as a salesperson or a sales manager to make sure your team hits that goal. And as a salesperson, it is your goal to hit, it is your accountability to hit that goal. These are just a few of the small methodologies for for hitting the accountability goal. And accountability is not just within the workforce, it's accountability within your own personal life, You're accountable for your actions when it comes to being a spouse. If you're unfaithful to your significant other, then you have to be accountable for your actions. If you try to cheat the IRS, you have to be accountable for your actions. These are just small ideas of how individuals can have issues when it comes to being accountable. And how many people do you know that it's never their fault? They seem to always get in trouble. Something seems to always go wrong in their life. And they're just, it's woe is me, woe is me, woe is me. Do you know anybody like that? I do. And it seems like nothing goes right in their life. Why? Because it's always someone else's fault. They can never admit that they were wrong. They can never admit that they didn't do the right things and were not accountable for their actions. They're also not responsible, so they don't make sure that a given tasks are done when they need to be. And for some reason, they have trouble keeping a job, keeping money on the table. Obviously, if you don't have a job, you can't keep money on the table. So that leads us to Gen Z and millennials when it comes to accountability and responsibility. We all know the knock on millennials and to some degree Gen Z is these are a special group. You don't have to, they don't hold to the same standards Gen X and baby boomers are held to. That's simply not true because they are just as accountable. They're just as responsible. It's just they have to be handled in a different way. This is not the same individuals that Gen X and baby boomers are. They are accountable for their actions. They're responsible for their actions. And overall, this is how as business leaders, managers, and whatnot, we have to keep that in mind. So we have to find ways to motivate and make sure that they are held to a high standard and they are accountable and responsible for their actions. I was reading, I think the other day, about how there was, I think they surveyed about 20 kindergarten or first graders, and they all took IQ tests. And when they saw the IQ test, they knew where everybody rated, and the top 20 individuals, kindergarten and first graders that rated the highest. And they treated them differently. How did they treat them differently? They basically held them to a higher standard. The expectations were higher. So when the IQ test was taken again, they repeated the IQ test and they scored even higher because, again, the expectations were higher. So that is why accountability and responsibility, as you increase the expectations of your Gen Z and millennial employee as leaders, you're likely going to find out that they're going to raise their level of responsibility, increase their level of accountability, and overall likely be more successful in the job they're doing. Now, as always, you want to make sure that as they exceed their expectations, that you praise them for a job well done. What happens is when you don't praise them for a job well done, then they're going to feel that they haven't met the goals or they're not appreciated for their goals. So that is why responsibility, which again is the identified task that it takes for somebody to complete, and the accountability is how somebody is held for the expectations that they need to meet, is why it's so important as leaders or Gen Z and millennial employees that you hold to that high standard, that you feel responsible, that you have accountability. Life is hard. Careers are hard. Working every day is hard. But that is life. Life is about meeting and exceeding your responsibilities, meeting and exceeding your accountability, and overall providing a great foundation to be successful. And as accountability and responsibility are important, they can always be raised. Think, like I mentioned before, those individuals that struggle because they don't have a great foundation, because they didn't meet the responsibility, they didn't meet the accountability that is expected of them. So keep in mind when you're working, when you're trying to exceed expectations, you need to realize that by showing that you're responsible for your actions, that you're accountable for your actions, you will be successful in everything you do. So don't ever take responsibility lightly. Feel great when somebody gives you those tasks because they think that you are the individual to take care of those responsibilities and overall succeed. And accountability, when you're given those tasks and you move forward and you're accountable for all the actions that it takes to complete, you will feel like you have been extremely successful. You will feel like you've conquered the task, you've conquered the expectations, and that is part of the success overall as individuals, as leaders, and as industry experts in your field. So again, as always, I want to thank you for your listenership. We have listeners all over the world, and I greatly appreciate it. And I can't wait to continue to provide you content. As always, if you have content ideas or you just want to drop a note to say thank you, or hey, I really don't agree with that, or I think your podcasts are dumb, whatever it may be, just know that I am here to listen and I appreciate your listenership. So thank you again. And the best email to reach me is at jason@jwigginsconsulting.com or via my website, genzandmillennialexpert.com. So again, look forward to seeing you on the next podcast. And until Tuesday, which is February 2nd, we'll see you then. So thank you if you listen in the morning, afternoon, or night. We appreciate it. Take care. Bye-bye.